VCC
Vanilla Creativity SMS. Hello mappers and welcome to the first episode of VCC SMS, which is short for Vanilla Creativity Contest Showcase Mapper Showcase. Today we have a guest, Oso. Nice to have you here.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, you built Showcase map number 14 for us. Did you ever heard of VCC before you got to work on the Showcase map?
Yeah, I had heard of the VCC Showcase and played a handful of maps before, just through potlucks and through other situations, seen them on TMX. I didn't know all of the rule set because I wasn't super familiar with not the competitions and the showcases that were going on before. But it was really cool to see all the stuff that VTM was doing through those challenges and maps where it was actually properly showcased. So I always had a good time on them, and I had a lot of fond memories of just seeing some of the items that people created in the route just popping out at you. Is some good stuff.
Yeah, where you mentioned the NA potluck, a big shout out to the guys. I think Number Play and Ibu always sent in our showcase maps, and it was fun to play. I also joined a few times, and definitely check out NA potluck for all the listeners here.
Hey, yeah, stay up late, all you Europeans. Stay up late for potluck. It's worth it.
So you are known for doing a lot of wicked stuff, like flying around with or without reactor, pipes, and other unusual driving. Basically doing everything but being normal. That's why I chose you to make a showcase map with the themes birds, air vehicle, and floating island. Did the themes help you to make the route, like give you a direction, or was it more of a challenge to include them somehow into the map?
No, I think it was really straightforward. I did not have a hard time integrating the themes. I think the bird, airplane, island themes immediately became clear that I needed to make some sort of floating island based map. And like you said, I like doing jumps and crazy stuff. And it became clear to me immediately that I wanted to do jumping between those floating islands. And I think the extra theme, the trees theme, I was very lucky. I think it worked great because if I'm already making islands have trees on them. I think I at the end of the day, I could have been way less fortunate in terms of making cohesive theme with my extra one. I think quickly to the map before me, the Submerged map, where one of the themes was Toy Story, and I could have gotten that level of just complete left field random theme to go along with everything else that was mostly cohesive. So I think I got lucky with my extra theme, and it integrated well into what I had in mind.
Like before we had showcase the community voted themes, we had like totally random themes. It all started with the Rabbi map. It was the last map where it was the first map I think where we had community voted themes. And also the last map where we had not a cohesive theme. Like we had, the theme was PC, Park, and Elephant. Like how do you build a map with that? And then the community voted theme was Spaceship. And after that we decided it can't go on that way. So on the next map built by Lakadal, we chose to have a more cohesive theme, but still wanted to make it challenging for the showcase mapper with getting a totally random theme, which then gets voted by the community. But the community mostly didn't know the overall monthly theme, so you got lucky with the trees, I would say.
I think so, yeah. I think I got very lucky.
So, do you have a favorite build or theme? Like, we had so many themes now and so many different builds. Is there any one which impressed you a lot?
I think my favorite map overall from the series thus far was the Oasis map from Jabsky.
Oh, one of
I
the
think
first ones.
Yeah, I think it. I just remember that one and really enjoying the route, but also finding the showcased elements to be very well placed and kind of a nice journey along the route, and everything felt not too distracting, but also still prominently displayed. Like I feel like it was really well balanced in that regard. So I
Yeah,
think that was a great map.
we also had a lot of wallies on that map.
Yeah, a lot of just cute robot items too, and yeah, I just thought it was a cool map, cool showcase, cool themes, and yeah, I enjoyed that one. The other one that comes to mind, just because of one item, really, I think there's other things that are great about it. This map is not only good because of one item, but one map that stands out to me was the number 11 from Kobla, because it was a great route and a lot of great items, but honestly, that teddy bear item is the single best build I've seen like in any map ever. That was just the coolest build. And anytime I think of VCC, I think of that single teddy bear.
Oh,
Because that's so cool.
you mean the white one from Ryuganji?
Oh, no, sorry. I meant the pink one. The pink one.
Oh, yeah,
The pink teddy bear made out of trees.
yeah,
is
the
just-
white pink trees.
Oh, the white pink. Yeah. The white pink tree teddy bear is just the coolest build I've ever seen in Trackmania, and I feel like to me it's just simple, but it's so effective in terms of the use of vanilla items in ways that you could have never expected. And I feel like that's to me is like the epitome of vanilla scenery mapping, and yeah, I just love that.
It was a really cool build. I agree. So, next question. Your showcase map ended up getting track of the day. It was very unexpected for me, and probably also for you, to see that map get track of the day, because it doesn't follow the usual formula of track of the day mapping. What do you think about that map now 9 months later? Would you have changed something, or are you still fine with the map, or what do you think in general about your map?
I think it aged pretty well. I am pretty happy with how my map turned out. I think if I was to change anything, it would have definitely been really enforcing the alley-oop 270 trick at the second jump, just because I was aware of the non 180 trick, or the clockwise 180 trick. But I figured that, hey, well, if people could do it, they can do it. It might be a little faster. It's not really a big deal. But what I didn't realize is how annoying it was to do when you're trying to go really, really fast. So, yeah, I definitely wish I had not made forced or not accommodated that as much, so that people would be more encouraged to go and do the alley-oop counterclockwise spin. That said, I think overall, like I said, I'm happy with the map and how it turned out. I definitely was also not expecting it to get track of the day. I think in terms of difficulty and accessibility, that map was, I think, lower on the list of potential track of the day candidates that I had put out in a while. I think up until that point as well, I had not had a track of the day in almost 3 years, I think. So I had a very long stretch of not getting a track of the day. So it was a massive surprise to have something get through.
Yeah, from all the showcase maps we had, your showcase map was the least one I expected to ever get track of the day. And so the crazy part is, when I sent in maps to the map review from the showcase map, I mostly just queue them once and then let auto queue decide. Like, from time to time I queue them a second time or a third time, but that's it. Most maps just get queued once and then auto queue decides. And your map even survived the auto queue, which most people think is bad, but even your
It is a death sentence, yeah.
even your map survived. Maybe you got lucky, maybe your map is that great even for map review Andes, but it survived auto queue. And the second VCC map that got track of the day was number 20, Cool Party from Number Play. It was kind of simple compared to your map and aimed more for the casual audience. Some of the reactions, especially from big streamers who liked your map, was, oh, it's a VCC map. The last one was pretty crazy. So my question is, have you played this map or other showcase maps in general? And how do you think the perfect showcase map should look like?
That's a good question. I think ultimately, the most important thing for a VCC showcase map in terms of how I was thinking about it and how I've thought about other maps is to just properly give the builds that you are featuring the platform they deserve to shine and letting them shine in that way. I think if you are able to do that, I don't think there's any other real rules that I would expect. I think I was maybe pushing the limit a little bit with my map in terms of the craziness of the route, and that I also don't think the route itself should distract a bunch from the scenery. I think the scenery should be front and center as a showcase map. So I kind of compensated with that wickedness by making sure that everything was very prominently featured, that you were literally driving around the builds as obstacles in the route and stuff to really make sure that there was no way that you could miss the scenery when you're driving through the map. So I think at the very least, that is extremely important. So all in all, I think the most important thing that you can do with the VCC map is just to let the builds shine and not let them play second fiddle to anything else going on.
Okay, and who would you have liked to see to map a showcase map? Sadly, VCC is on break when this episode airs, but who would have you seen building a showcase map? Where did you would get excited to see one?
That's interesting question, because it's something that you could take from either the route perspective or the scenery perspective in terms of who could create a really interesting vanilla scenery that integrates all the vanilla creations. I mean, I'd say Squeagle hasn't done one, has he?
He hasn't, but I asked him. He's very busy.
Yeah.
So
I think Squeagle would be a great one, just because I know he makes fun routes, but he also makes insane vanilla scenery. So I think seeing what he could cook if he really had time to sit down and make something for VCC, it would be really cool. I also think he's somebody that does really well with macro scenery, not macro in terms of macro blocks, but macro in terms of scale. And so if there was a theme that had to do with a lot of larger structures, I think he'd be able to create something really interesting and atmospheric with that. So
yeah, so
I think Squeagle would be a great choice.
If the showcase map, if the VCC ever returns, we will probably ask Squeagle again. But one of the most challenging factors in building a showcase map is, in my opinion, the time limit, the deadline you have.
Yeah.
Because you accept to build the showcase map like already 1 month earlier before all the builds are even built. So you don't even know which macro blocks you get. You get a rough theme you get, but you don't know how will they look like, how many will participate, how big will they be. And then when you get all the builds, you have 1 month's time to build a map with them. And 1 month building a good map isn't impossible, but it's really hard.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely difficult for a multitude of reasons. There are two things in mapping that I am not good with. One of them is scenery, and the other of which is deadlines. So this was quite a challenge for me on both of those things. This was the first time I had built my own scenery on one of my own maps in at least 2 years, I think. For pretty much every proper mapping project like this, I have always worked with somebody else for scenery, because not just because I'm lazy. I have tried many times to make my own scenery. I just know that I am very bad at it. So I know that I'm not going to be doing my roots service if I do my own scenery on them. This was a challenge because I had to fully rely on myself to make something happen. I think it helped that I had all these amazing VCC creations to use throughout to really let those shine and not have to rely on my own scenery making abilities to create amazing visuals. So I think it was a good circumstance on that front, but nonetheless a difficult challenge, as well as the deadline, of course. I think not only do I not enjoy deadlines, but I am a very slow mapper. There are some mappers that can turn around maps within a couple days or a couple hours. I am not one of those mappers. I will sit down for a mapping session, and at the end of that mapping session have maybe made 1 or 2 blocks of progress on a route from just trying a bunch of things, deleting a bunch of things. My process is a slow and steady one. So that was also a challenge to get myself in the right headspace to not panic and just stay the course and pace myself. And ultimately, I think it ended up working out, though. I'm happy with how it worked out on the scenery side, and I obviously did make the deadline, so that's a success there as well.
Glad it worked all out. And talking about maps, as I checked your maps, I saw a lot of phobia. Pipephobia, Bonkphobia, Hydrophobia. Is there any phobia you have for real?
I'm not afraid of much. I'm kind of a bit of an outgoing and also like risk-taking type person in real life. I do a lot of like extreme sports and stuff.
Oh, really? Which one?
Yeah. Like snowboarding, rock climbing, skateboarding. Skateboarding is like my main thing that I do outside of playing video games. And surfing, pretty much anything, mountain biking, like all that stuff. I love that stuff. But yeah, I do have like one phobia. This is not gonna play super well for your interview because it's kind of depressing. But I do have like a fear of getting old. Because I am a very like active person, and yeah, I'm getting towards like 30, and I'm gonna be turning 30 next year, and because I do all this active stuff in my body, like every time I get hurt, every time stuff happens, I'm like, yeah, well, I only got so many years left of this, and so yeah, again, I told you it was going to be kind of depressing. It's not going to play super well, but that's just my honest answer. I don't really have any other phobias. So.
First off, you sound like a really cool dude with all the hobbies you have. And second off, with 30, it gets downhill from my experience. I'm over 30, a few years already. And for me, it all went downhill. So I don't want to support your phobia, but I want to say enjoy your life as long as you can.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, so one thing that I am clinging on to is I have one of my best friends is 40, and he does all the stuff I do. We skateboard together, we do all this other stuff together, and he's still going strong. So he's my litmus test. The second his body starts to fall apart and he can't do any of this anymore, that's when I'll really start to get scared. But I'm like, as long as I see him still having a good time, I'm gonna keep having a good time.
So he's basically your deadline in real life.
Yeah, he's my litmus test. He's my frame of reference for I'm allowing myself to go through physically and mentally. So,
but
yeah,
talking about depressive themes, the next question, I checked out a few more map names from you, and well, a few be like In the Mud, Negative, Downforce, Banana Meltdown, Desolation. I hope you're fine. Like,
I'm doing okay. I think all of those names were a product of circumstance and references within those individual products. I think it is an interesting pattern to recognize, and definitely one that warrants maybe a little bit of concern. But I promise you, I'm doing just fine.
Yeah, a few of them were also collabs, so it's not entirely your fault, probably.
Yeah, banana. Well, most of them I picked the name, but Banana Meltdown I did not pick the name. So
I now named a lot of maps from you, but do you have any map you made that you liked the most, and why should everybody who listens right now play the map?
I don't know. I don't know what map I would consider my favorite map. I've made so many different maps with so many different styles. I don't really have a style of mapping. I just build anything pretty much. I built every map of every style except for full speed, I think, because I'm not good enough at full speed to calculate a full speed route. That's really what it comes down to. So I don't think there's any map that I'd say is 100% my favorite. As far as something that I think people maybe listening this could check out. Let me re-say that. I think as far as a map that I made that people listening might enjoy checking out, I put out a map a short while ago called USA Portland, Oregon for the USA campaign. And it is a almost entirely vanilla scenery recreation, a faithful recreation of the city of Portland, where I live, with two other people that also live in Portland, were the other two collaborators. So I'm really happy with that map and how it turned out. We made 3 like faithful recreations of 3 of Portland's most iconic bridges, which were the Telecom Bridge, the Fremont Bridge, and the Steel Bridge. Oh, sorry, 4, the Burnside Bridge as well. And had you traverse across all 4 bridges while also going through some iconic other buildings like the Convention Center, the Wells Fargo building, all these other buildings in downtown Portland. And it was almost all created with vanilla items. So it was a really fun project, and it was great to work on something that I have a lot of, personal, connection to. And it was great to kind of joke about with those guys as we were working on it, like driving around town, sending them photos, like I'm doing research for the map. So it was, yeah. So I think that one kind of flew under the radar a little bit because obviously did not get track of the day. It was not part of some bigger promotion in any way. So if anybody wants to check out a map for me, I think it's a little less wicked and crazy in terms of my typical route style, but nonetheless, I think it's one of my most proud vanilla scenery style projects that I've been a part of, especially because I also did some of that scenery myself.
Yeah, you mentioned that you made a lot of research for your map. I do that a lot for my maps, but I heard also that a lot of people don't do it. Do you often make researches before your map? Like, do you research a specific architecture style? Do you research if it even, I don't know how to say it, do you research your map?
Well, I mean, I don't do scenery like hardly ever for anything, as I said before. So I'd say on the scenery side, I don't really do much research. That Portland, Oregon one was the only one where I could even say I did some amount of like information gathering for scenery in that sense. I think I do, however, do some amount of research on the route side for some of my maps. I think my main philosophy with every map I try to put out, for the most part, is to offer a novel experience to the player. And what I mean by that is have them get into the map and have something capture their attention and keep their attention and make them walk away going, "Wow, that was interesting. That was different." Not just, "Oh, but that was a really well made map," or "Okay, pretty cool." I want them to be very captured and intrigued. And part of that is making something that's very different from what they would have typically seen. So even if a concept is wicked and cool, if it's something that they've seen a few times before, it's not going to capture their attention in the same way. So, and what I mean by that in terms of research side is I will make sure if I'm working on a project, if I come up with an idea, I will do my best to make sure that it is not something that a bunch of other people have already done. I want to create something that is unique for them. So
Unique and rememberable.
yeah.
So that, and I think you succeeded pretty well with it. Like if people say Oso, they know exactly what type of maps they can expect. And
I think so. I think I've done a pretty decent job over the years of like cultivating my personal brand in that sense. I don't think I've ever been trying to make people think of me in a certain way in regards to roots, but I think as far as people making a connection with my maps, and as far as that extends to myself as a mapper, I think I've set out, I've accomplished for the most part what I've set out to do, and I hope to continue to do that for as long as I can. So
okay, as I wrote the script for that episode, my question would have been, what are you cooking right now that takes you so long? Because it's been a while since we saw an Oso map. But now you got the track of the day, and you was also lucky to get chosen to build a map for TMA Volume 3 campaign. Congratulations on both. But what's up next? What can we expect from you?
I've got a couple maps still coming out. Actually, you're right. I have not been super productive. I'd say 2025 was not a super productive year for me compared to previous years. But I've got a bunch of maps coming out the start of this year. The TMA campaign one, I'm really proud of that one. So I hope people go check out the TMA campaign as well as my map there. And then the track of the day one that actually came out in 2024 and I completed that route in 2022. So that is a 4-year-old map. That's why it feels so retro and so nostalgic, which was never the intention. It was never intended to be a throwback map, but it just ended up being because it took so long for it to manifest. As far as other things I'm proud of, I was lucky enough to represent Team USA in the mapping event for the Trackmania games, and very proud of what we were able to do in the short amount of time for that map. And so definitely encourage folks to go check that one out. And yeah, as far as other things, I've got a couple other smaller projects that have just been on the back burner since then. I've got a map with XJ coming out. That's a little bit more tame of a theme, but still something that's really fun. And then that's like the main other thing. I don't have a lot of else in the back burner. I've purposely been turning down a lot of projects recently because I've been getting close to burnt out, honestly. I've just been mapping so much the last half year or so and on multiple projects with deadlines, and I just need a break. I need to not have deadlines, need to not have things like that I'm worrying about and collabs and things I need to respond to. So as soon as I finish up everything that's like work in progress, I'm I'm taking a little break. So
I'm excited to play your TM Games map. The roster, your lineup sounds pretty insane for Team USA. In my pick'ems, they are also in number 3 spot.
I appreciate that.
Number 1 will probably be Germany, as this episode will air. If not, I will cut it out, what I said.
Yeah, Germany has a great lineup too. Talking to the folks on that team, I know they got a good group of people. I don't know. It's going to be a really stacked competition. I mean, realistically, this is off the record because I don't want to be putting down my fellow team. But I don't even know if we are top 5, to be honest. I think I'm very proud of the map that we put together. I think it's a great map, but it's just impossible to count out the level of cooking that some of these other teams will have doing. I know France apparently cooked insanely hard. I haven't seen their map yet, but they went all out, is from what I hear, in terms of the people that they brought in and the amount of effort they put into every aspect of the map. So, and Finland is an insane team. Netherlands is a great team. There's just so many great teams. I think it's impossible to count anybody out. But I appreciate y'all putting us in position 3 on your pick'em. It's very humbling.
Oh, talking about winners, I know someone who also won something. Like, you won Mixed Map of the Year on last year's TMX User Choice Awards. Or this year's User Choice Award. Congratulations for that. While mixed is probably one of the most map styles and also broadly diversified, would you see yourself as mixed mapper, or what is your main style of mapping? Like, when you think on Bob, you first think of Xemlanx as a mapper. If you hear SQLC, you immediately think of Dirt. But with Oso, I have to think to Wicked. But that's not a style. Tell us, what do you even map?
I mean, honestly, I feel like you have the correct perception of it, and I touched on this earlier. I really don't think I have a mapping style. I don't think there is a single. I'd say maybe mixed is more something that I've ended up putting out more of, and I don't even know if that's true, but it's something that I maybe lean more towards, but not because I liked mixed map. It's more just mixed maps happen when you don't care about what surfaces you're using. That's just kind of what ends up happening, and that's why they, I think, are the most common style. I don't think I have anything that I lean towards in terms of actual discipline, actual surfaces. I come up with concepts based on what I think will work in terms of executing that and in a way that's effective, and that is a novel experience. And I go from there. I never start placing blocks without a specific vision in mind of what I want to do. And those visions are theorized beforehand in a vacuum, without really any consideration of style or surface or anything like that. So, and that's why I think I just have no real consistent output of some certain type of style. That is kind of an inadvertent thing. It's not like I've chosen to specifically I just put out a plastic map, so I should avoid doing plastic for a little while. It's just kind of how it's worked out from what keeps me excited and the concepts that I come up with and what surfaces and whatnot work with those concepts.
Okay. So that's all for now. I want to thank you for being my guest. Do you have anything to say?
No, I don't think I have anything else to say. I appreciate you bringing me on, talking about stuff. Shout out VTM, shout out VCC, shout out Latitude mapping team. I just joined not too long ago. Yeah, that's all I got.